And right now it's time for that time when we talk to our special guest. Tonight's special guest is Brent Eckles. Brent Eckles Entertainment is responsible for bringing to New Zealand some of the biggest names in show business. Brent started in music as a drummer with Citizen Band, moved to Australia and joined top Australian band The Angels, and now spends his busy days in New Zealand as a concert promoter. We welcome Brent Eckles as our special guest on The Beat Goes On. Brent Eckles, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thanks, mate.
My gosh, if anybody could claim to have a life where the beat went on, it has to be you, Brent.
I guess so.
Today, you live your life as a promoter of music and artists throughout the world. Love the job?
Some days it's exciting. I don't think I want to do anything else.
Yeah.
So even on the worst days, I think, well, this is what you've chosen. Do you really want to keep doing this? And yes, I do. Yeah.
But you have brought some great artists to New Zealand. What's a couple, for instance, who's your biggest artist that you've handled here in New Zealand?
The biggest show that we did was the Foo Fighters at Western Springs.
Now, that would have been a biggie.
Yeah, it was about 40,000.
40,000. No worries about filling that stadium, was there? I mean,
not with that band.
So there are some tours that are worry-free, aren't they? In the sense of getting audience bums on seats, as they call it.
Well, it's always just a mathematical equation. It's always, whether the income covers the costs, and that can be a small show or a big show. Depends how big the costs are.
That was the biggest show, the Foo Fighters, the most enjoyable, the one that you loved the most.
Still the most enjoyable was Tim, Finn, Beck, Wrong and Dave Dobbin, which was the first tour I did when I came back to New Zealand. For me, just using all my knowledge and experience from Australia, I thought we could do it easily, and there were a few hurdles, but we got there, and it became my calling card, I suppose, got me started in New Zealand again. Now,
let's have a little bit of history of Brent Eckles, classic baby boomer. Classic baby boomer, born what year, Brent?
54.
1954, you're right in it.
Yeah.
A little bit of time to go before the pension, of course, but... Now, Brent, tell us you became a drummer, but what influenced you? What was the first signs that you loved music and you wanted to be a drummer?
I think we used to go out for dinner a lot to the places where they had, a three-piece playing in the corner, probably Frank Gibson Sr., one of his bands, and I just liked the idea of drums, and pestered my parents to buy me a drum kit. In fact, my grandmother ended up buying me a kit, and I was so green, I didn't know how to set it up. I had to look at pictures and go, oh, that's where you put the bass drum there and you put the snare drum there. I wonder why you do that. So kind of worked it all out, and then drove my parents crazy for a long time, just trying to play.
And then the big moment for New Zealand, anyway, you joined Citizen Band, which we all know and love.
Yeah, well,
that was a great period, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, it was good. It was quite innovative. We made a couple of great records, but the history into that was, I played in Street Talk for a while, and I played in Space Waltz as well.
Gosh, those are big names back then, weren't they?
Yeah. It was different back then. It was very, we were sort of very feeling our way. But, with Street Talk, we played at the Windsor Castle Hotel 3 nights a week.
But that's with Hammond Gamble?
Hammond, yeah. Yep. Always drove home pissed, always. Just the way it was then.
I know, it's terrible. When we look back on it.
I know, yeah, it's incredible. But then Citizen Band, that took me to Australia.
That opened up even more. You joined a great group called The Angels.
That's right, yeah.
Wow, tell us about that period.
Well, that was 20 years of my life, and that took me through a lot of different things. I mean, first-class recording and, high-level touring internationally and in Australia. And I ended up managing managing The Angels for the last 10 years of that 20. I think I made 5 or 6 albums with them in that time. Some in Australia, some a couple in America, one in Los Angeles, one in Memphis. Had a #1 album in Australia. But that I learned an awful lot. Met a lot of great people, a lot of great promoters, great agents, just great musicians, and I always thought with the amount of travel I did, I should keep my eyes open and keep it for the future, because I probably couldn't play drums forever. As it happened, I decided to stop. My son Matt I started playing drums with Liam Finn, Neil's son, back in New Zealand. So we decided to move. That was one of the reasons we decided to move back to New Zealand in 2000.
Well, I think, Brent, that what we should do is just have a quick look at you drumming back in Australia in the Angels, just to prove your credentials. Make sure you're keeping in time. What song would you like us to play?
Let's look at Dogs Are Talking from the Beyond Salvation album.
The Dogs Are Talking. Okay, let's have a look at it.
Talk to me. Tell me what you're gonna do. Come to me. Are we gonna see it through? So you got a reputation. Well, I do too. All across the nation, there are guys hanging out to meet girls like you. And the dogs are talking. The dogs are talking. The dogs are talking. Heartbreaker, with a jelly roll skin. Love maker, it's your heart that let me in. But backseat, you know you gotta loosen up. Body heat, don't stop now, don't stop. The dogs are talking. The dogs are talking. The dogs are talking. Let them talk. The dogs are talking. Dogs are talking. Dogs are talking.
Wow, you were great. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? It brings back memories.
Oh, yeah. You never forget that stuff.
Yeah. Those are so where has the time gone? Where has the time gone, Brent? Now we're approaching the pension. Well, I'm there and you've got another couple of years to go.
I wouldn't change a thing. You know, to me the days are long. I mean, I'm usually at work at 8 in the morning and home and finish at 7. So, you know, we have a lot to do, and you know, we have quite a sizable staff now as well, so it's a responsibility. So,
Well, how many staff would you have?
on the promoting side, there's 6 of us, and then there's a label, a promotions company, and T-shirts and publishers, and another 4 there. So seem to be hanging in there okay. But you know, it's important to bring in young blood, and we have that, and you know, can throw opinions around, and they can challenge me on what I think, and especially nowadays when things are changing so fast.
How do you keep up, or how do you like? I mean, a lot of us, as we get on, we look at the young people's music today and we think, "Oh my God, that's awful." Yeah. You can't think that. You've got to see them in the best possible light. How do you do that?
Oh, I see it as business. It's straight as business. It's my
you don't care what they
taste.
play. Yeah.
I don't. No,
as long as they fill the stadium.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm there for. That's what I do. So my personal taste doesn't come into it at all.
Brent, you're here tonight because to hear the story of your life also, but to talk about the upcoming Pretty Things tour.
Sure.
And of course, Shane is involved with the Australian Pleasers. And, Shane is on the show, and you are promoting it. And tell us how it all started, and when it's going to happen, and why it's going to happen, and let's give some tickets away.
Sure. Well, the show is at the Power Station on Tuesday, the 11th of December. Tickets from Ticketmaster. Before I even picked up a drumstick, I remember watching TV1 News, and the Pretty Things were on, and the newsreader was just disgusted. Absolutely disgusted, was shocked, and he had long hair, and you know, it wasn't like the Beatles. The Beatles you could, or the Stones you could tolerate, but this was they were all the guns were trained on them, and they'd done a tour of New Zealand, which is notorious. There's a great book on that tour. So when a friend of mine in Australia,
they were ordered out of New Zealand, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And he said he had him for Australia. Would I do a show in New Zealand? I said he'd love to. So I thought it would be nice to have some artists come on that were from the era.
That era, yeah.
So Shane and the Pleasers, Larry Morris, Dave Hurley, and Midge Marsden from the Breakaways. They're going to be on as well. So it should be a great night of nostalgia. And you know, the Pretty Things guys, they're very lucid. They've got good stories, and they play good. So
now it's not far away. Tonight is Tonight is the week of the 3rd,
Yeah.
and so we're talking about in another 8 days' time,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's a Tuesday night, is it?
It is, yeah.
Tuesday night at the power station.
Correct.
Mount Eden. Now, of course, there's many of our viewers out there right in the age group we're talking about. They're all saying, how can I get there? And we're going to give them a chance by having a little competition.
Sure.
So how many double passes could we?
Let's give away 3 doubles, shall we?
3 double passes,
Yeah.
that's 6 people are going to see the show. What's a good question about that period?
A good question would be, when the Pretty Things played New Zealand, they played Auckland. Name 2 other cities they played.
A little bit of a clue could be, say, Wellington and Invercargill. Would
Could
that
be.
be a sufficient clue? Yeah. Okay, all right. So get your entries into Jared at thebeatgoeson.co.nz and have a wonderful concert on the 11th of December. It's a Tuesday night at the power station here in Auckland. What's the future, Brent? What are you bringing out past this concert? What's your big plans for 2013?
Okay, well, we have Regina Spektor coming, we have Morrissey, we have Simple Minds, Devo and The Church, we've got Neil Young, we've got
Wow, these
Jimmy
are-
Barnes, Jim Wigmore, 660, Anika Barnholly, we've got Fat Freddy's Drop doing the winery tour, we've got Elvis Costello coming, there's a few more too.
Gosh.
The Offspring are coming.
Not so much sleepless nights about people turning up, but sleepless nights keeping track of it all. It's an amazing, isn't it? So that's what keeps the 6 staff busy, is it? But yeah, keeping that. Hey, Brent, thanks for coming in today.
Pleasure.
And those tickets, our audience will just love the chance to win those tickets. We'll see you next time. Take care.